servicing, tyres and alloys for all make and models. Chewham Street in the city. NewstalkZB.
A lot of text messages coming through on Ozark. Thank you so much for those. Don't tell me what. Yeah, but it's very addictive. Very, very addictive. Thanks for indulging me for a minute there. Right, it's time to talk business now with the Canterbury Employer Chamber of Commerce CEO Leeann Watson. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
The budget announced, still not much for businesses though. What are your thoughts?
Look, I think we were reasonably pleased to see some focus on targeted expenditure with an emphasis on, obviously, business recovery. I think the most important component that I know that has been very welcomed by businesses is the extension of the wage subsidy, particularly for those that have been significantly impacted, and also encouraging to hear the Minister talk about flexibility around, maybe looking at another further extension beyond this period for those that really need it, so in a targeted way. Look, I think there was a significant amount in there for business. That's one part, but, certainly there's a $200 million boost for exporters and for those involved in research and development, quite a bit, and there's obviously for the tourism sector, quite a bit around the training and trades and future of work. A decent amount, but very much a right here, right now budget as opposed to one that sort of looks too far into the future.
What's the general sentiment and feeling among the business community in Christchurch now with level 2? Are they feeling better? Are we feeling better? Are we still waiting for level 1?
So our last survey was pretty sobering. 63% of those businesses that we surveyed reported significant financial impacts from COVID-19. And I think, that is absolutely reflective on the number of calls that we are receiving through our COVID helpline. While businesses are now operating under Alert Level 2 and some are able to operate under Alert Level 3, what we do need to recognise is that it's going to take quite some time for those businesses to gear up to, full production levels. And that's for a number of reasons, including, obviously we've got limitations, in some sectors, such as the hospitality sector, where, you can't have a full restaurant like you had before. You have to have social distancing in place. There are increased costs in doing that for some businesses. And just actually consumer behaviours. So I think that's going to take quite some time for businesses to get back up to, sort of pre-COVID levels. We're seeing, significant changes in the way in which people actually interact, and some of that will carry on post-COVID. So businesses need to be aware of changing business models at the same time.
Will level 1 make any difference, do you think, or is it sort of similar to what I'm hearing for level 2?
It depends on what's on level 1, right? At the moment, the most significant difference between where we are now and where we go next, I think, will be the border restrictions. Until we see our borders open back up again and maybe, done in a staggered way, I think that's probably the most significant change. You can pretty much do most things now that you could do pre-COVID, albeit with some different requirements in place. Obviously the social distancing, the big gatherings, those sorts of things, absolutely understand that they are areas that we can't do, but you can certainly get on a plane, you can go to different places, you can go out to a restaurant, you can go into a mall, all of those sorts of things. So, it depends on what Alert Level 1 looks like, and we will move to that as to, how much better that will be.
Yes, Mark, come soon, I hope. Leeann Watson from the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Continuing the conversation on